Welcome to Clause 8. You're watching a short clip from one of our full episodes, featuring real conversations with the leaders shaping IP.
So I think about another space in the legal tech world, CLM, so Contract Lifecycle Management.
Yeah.
And if you look back, 5-10 years ago, this was the most boring space you could be in. It was kind of a legal backwater, dealing with contracts. And now in the space, you've got the ironclads, the Evisorts of the world, that are, have billion-dollar valuations. They're, sexy companies doing AI. And what they've managed to do is tie their product and the role of the contract administrators and the contract lawyers of the world to revenue, essentially. Because before, right, you think about it, the reason that sales weren't, hitting their quotas is because they couldn't get a contract signed by the end of the quarter, right? Because there's all this negotiating back and forth. Well, let's think about that in terms of IP, right? We're the engineering team. We have, a new set of product specs. We want to get them in front of the customer as fast as possible, or the prospect. And one of the hurdles we have is, we need to make sure our IP is protected, right? We need to get a provisional patent out the door.
Yeah.
And I've seen situations where that process is actually slowed down going to market. We'll see attorneys bending over backwards to try to meet those deadlines. But right now, I think there's still that kind of reputation as the Department of No, saying, well, we need to slow down, we need to wait.
Yeah.
And I think there's ways to, again, reverse that story and show how you can actually break down those barriers, how you can help inventors disclose faster, how you can help them, again, get to market faster because you filed faster.
I think what you did is very interesting because you actually tied the patents to the sale, right?
Exactly.
It's not some elaborate story. No, you're actually, the company is going to be selling products and they're going to be able to use those patents to make that sale happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think the hardest job of an attorney is that, their job typically is to mitigate risk.
Yeah.
And you never really get any credit for mitigating risk, right? It's hard to prove that, hey, we avoided these 3 lawsuits. You really only get recognition when something goes wrong, right? And you get sued. And so you really have to just change that story and tie it to the company's mission, which is we need to grow as quickly as possible. We need to develop innovative products that differentiate us from the competition.
Yeah.
Right? I've actually seen IP departments almost serve a product marketing function because they have incredible visibility into what competitors are doing from IP. If you can package that in a way and get that information succinctly to the product teams, to the business leads, that becomes incredibly valuable. And so those are the types of things that aren't easy to do, but can certainly change the story.
And what do you think about those teams that they were able to do that? Is it the type of company where they, to serve that kind of role? Like what is the...
I think what I've seen in a lot of cases is you have somebody coming into the IP leadership role who has a business background.
Okay.
And so they're able to speak the language. They're able to understand, well, this is the type of information that's not just valuable to us as an IP team, but actually helps the product team understand where the market is going. And so I think if there are ways for IP attorneys that maybe don't have that background to better educate themselves, spend more time kind of working with the business leaders, understanding how they talk, what they need to know, that's going to enable that type of a dialogue.